this here house? Definitely a throwback to the 60s.
Yeah, all we need is Janice, Jimmy, and a little social conscience, Rico. 2 o'clock, Joey Hardin. Kind of pinheaded geek.
Hey, love the dude's moves. Yeah, maybe we ought to get Peter up there, huh? Give us his Elvis impersonation. What do you say, Big Pete? Come on, show us your moves. Come on, babe, this is the guy you want. This here's the man. Hey, why don't you give the kid a break?
Hey, dude, relax. We're just bringing the kid out, okay?
In a couple of more weeks, the kid's gonna be thanking us for liberating him from his bourgeois lifestyle.
Blackjack.
Sonny, Rico, looking sharp.
Save the charm for the girls, kid.
Okay, look, they got Peter Lau with them. It's very stoned. I don't like the way it feels. So after you guys make the buy, I'm going with those guys.
Good idea. I think the kid's gonna need your help.
Okay.
Let's do it. You know, Rico, one nice thing about our job,
What's that?
meet such nice people.
Free! Miami Vice!
Vice of Miami podcast, season 5, we're back at last. With Mark and Tim on the mic, they're bringing heat, they're bringing hype. Guest stars going through, oh what a ride. Deep dives in music, let the rhythm guide.
Welcome to the Vice of Miami podcast. I'm your host, Mark, alongside my co-host, Tim. We're definitely thrilled to take you on a journey through the iconic 80s TV show, Miami Vice. Every episode, we dip into the gripping world of detectives Sonny Crockett and Rico Tubbs and the entire Vice team, reviewing every episode and uncovering the dark storylines, the unforgettable guest stars, and the electrifying music that turned Miami Vice into a cult classic. From trivia and fun facts to the occasional goof, we're here to provide a fresh and engaging perspective, whether you're a longtime fan or new to the series. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us on show number 115 as we explore the near end of season 5, calling it episode 118, the lost episode, Leap of Faith. And just a quick note, yes, I know last episode there was no YouTube video as well. Still got tech issues, but I think I've got it figured out, so pray that I get this one done. Tim?
What do you think's going on? What do you think's going on with it, Mark? The tech issues.
Binary string adapter. It's
not interfacing with it. It's not interfacing with the token ring adapter.
Exactly. Got to call the ECAR tech support.
There you go. All right. Anyway, Mark, this episode was written by Robert Ward and directed by Robert Iscove. The original air date, June 28th, 1989, and it was the 111th episode overall in the series with a production code of 63921-19. And our plot, Crockett and Joey Hardin work with a unit of young policemen to investigate a college professor who has created a new designer drug, and that's really using it loosely. Crockett, as you'll see, people, really wasn't part of it. He just gave the blessing as we move forward.
All right, we're going to delve into the stars, guest stars and co-stars. Yes, you heard that right. This was, I think, the only, well, besides the main stars, you know, Crockett, Tubbs and all that, this one has starring. So first up, we've got Justin Lazard as Metro Dade Detective Joey Hardin, Cale Martin as Metro Dade Captain Paul Cutter, and Cameron Dye as Metro Dade Detective Jack Andrews. Now we have the guest stars. First up, we've got Laura San Giacomo as Metro Dade Detective Tanya Lewis, Adam Stork as Metro Dade Detective Ray Mundy, Jennifer Rubin as Claire, and we're going to quickly cover Keith Gordon as Professor Terry Baines. If he looks familiar, he is. He's an American actor, producer, and director born February 13th, 1961 in New York City. Gordon started his career in acting, debuting in a 1975 episode of the TV series Medical Center and other TV shows he was in. Some of them.
Chad Everett was a star of Medical Center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating myself, Mark.
You are. I'd never seen it, never heard of it. Anyway, some other TV shows are Dexter, The Bridge, and his movie career began in Jaws 2, followed by All That Jazz. And the role I know him from is Jason Mellon in Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. Doing the
Jason Mellon.
Yep. His dad did a triple Lindy. Anyway, he also partnered up with good old Noogie, Charlie Barnett, in Terms of Enrollment. Gordon married actress Rachel Griffin in 1998, and they have no children. Tim, who are the co-stars?
Co-stars are Stephen G. Anthony as Egg, Andrew Deutsch as Peter Ladd, Renee Rock as Antonio, Donna Rose as a college girl, Tony Tracy as a biker, and then with uncredited roles, Alana Shaw as Detective Mills, and Andy Sotelare as a party guest.
Tim, somebody's got a birthday coming up February 24th. He's going to be 79. Good old Edward James Olmos. Thank you for my birthday. Have you seen my birthday cake, Detective?
Yes, happy early birthday, EJO. And then what I found, Mark, is that IMDb notes that this episode was slated to be a spinoff of Miami Ice, but never gained any traction because another show that was currently airing since 1987, 21 Jump Street, had way too many similarities as the Young Criminals Unit premise. Therefore, the spinoff never made it past the drawing room board of TV ideas.
No, we'll get into it in our reviews.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tim, let's start the discussion so we can get this one over with. That's a bad omen right there. Anyways, we start this episode off in a packed Miami nightclub, lights flashing, music pounding. Crockett and Tubbs, they're pretty much just sitting in the shadows waiting on a drug buy. And all of a sudden, Crockett spies Joey Hardin. And if you remember the name, his last appearance in Miami Vice, we saw him in The Line of Fire and Miami Squeeze. He works for the DEA, but he kind of partners with Vice every now and then. So remember that. So anyway, everything's lining up until some muscle-bound guy recognizes Crockett. Well, wouldn't you know it, one wrong look, and fists are flying. By the time the dust settles here, the dealers have bolted, and Joey's frustrated. Crockett's frustrated. Just another night in Miami. Meanwhile, a rich college kid named Peter is being let out of the same club, blindfolded by the strange little crew run by a professor named Terry Baines. Terry here is worried that Peter's been talking too much about their quote-unquote work. They take him up to a rooftop somewhere. They pull off the blindfold. And Peter, who's still kind of stoned and out of it, his vision is warped. Like he's not even his own body. Him and Baines here are talking. And then all of a sudden he steps off the ledge and just like that becomes a pancake.
So now we move to OCB where Crockett fills Joey in. Peter had hallucinogens in his system and there's a trail leading straight to Professor Baines. Crockett tries to pull Baines' file, but it's locked down tight. Whatever's in there, someone doesn't want it seen, but Crockett is still able to access the info. And then he just tells Joey, I got to leave. You know, he obviously found something in there. I got to leave. So later, Crockett's somewhere shooting pool, and it seemed like it was a boatyard or something. I'm not sure. When Captain Paul Cutter walks in, and he's a guy from Crockett's past, and definitely not in a good way. Cutter runs the Young Criminal Unit, a squad of undercover kids who can blend into places older cops can't. He wants his team on the Baines case. Crockett wants him far away from it. Cutter pushes back, saying Baines is sharp enough to make Joey before Crockett and Tubbs would be able to get there and save him. And just like that, the YCU is in, and that's Crockett gave the blessing. Basically, Cutter said to him, You need this team, Sonny. And I guess Sonny gave that backwards look with a grin, and here we are.
YCU is in, and Crockett and Tubbs is out of the episode.
We were assigned to this case by the Attorney General.
I don't give a damn if you were assigned by Dan Quayle. You're not about to go charging in there and screwing up an ongoing investigation. Maybe blow my man's cover. Forget it, Cutter.
Sonny, Terry Baines graduated from Harvard summa cum laude in abnormal psychology at 16. He's got an IQ that's off the charts. If he makes Hardin, that kid might not have time to call you Enrico. He's gonna need guys in there. Guys who can act fast.
So now we're at YCU headquarters. I still like OCB better than YCU. And this is it. This is where the Miami Vice type thing is out. And now we're just the young boys here. Okay, so this is it from here on out. Over at the YCU headquarters, the young guns here, they're doing target practice when Joey shows up. He's not thrilled about working with a team, but Cutter here insists. Joey meets Ray, Zach, and Tanya. Tanya's the researcher, and she's already dug up something wild. Baines's work here is based on Poe's Eureka. This idea that dreams are just the real world, that dreams are the real world, and waking life is the illusion. So now it's not just drugs, it's also philosophy, ego, and something darker. And you know what? One look at these guys, Tim, just nothing but a bunch of pretty boys, right?
And yeah, just thinking about this, Mark, I know you didn't pick I know what you picked for the song for our mindful music, but what could have worked here too was Styx's Grand Illusion.
Oh yeah, yep.
That could have worked.
It would have worked, but I don't want to taint Styx that way with this.
Exactly. So now we're at Bradford College, where Baines is working. He's teaching a class on schizophrenia, dropping lines about how people like St. Paul and Jesus would be institutionalized today, because he said, they were always hearing voices too. That's a stretch, but whatever. Joey approaches him afterward, playing the I like drugs for fun angle. Baines gives him this mystical monologue about accessing the dream world. Meanwhile, undercover Ray is flirting with a student named Claire, and Baines shuts that down real fast. Joey and Ray get invited to a party at Baines' house, and you could tell the tension's already building because Baines seems to have a thing for his student Claire.
Claire is looking for some extra credit, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're at Baines' house, and at the party here, Baines is talking shop with Zach, while Joey sneaks into his office. Ray distracts Baines by kissing Claire. Not subtle, but definitely effective. And then Joey gets out of his office just in time. He's looking for something, or basically any info he can get on Baines. Baines eventually corners Joey with this African truth knife thing, very dramatic. But Joey kind of pitches him on selling his designer drug. Baines here, he buys it. Says his pill will wake the world up. Joey sets up a meeting with the buyer. So now Ray and Claire end up alone. She wants things to go further, and he hesitates. He's undercover, right? So she opens up about Baines taking kids in from broken homes, Peter, Lisa, and how things have gotten darker lately. So Ray here, he starts seeing the bigger picture.
And now I think it was back to a nightclub again. Baines meets Cutter as the undercover, as the supposed buyer. And Joey steps out of this after the intro because Cutter told me, Baines told him, all right, you could beat feet here. I'll take it from here. And then they did their quick intro, setting up a buy. And then later on, Joey calls Ray to thank him for the distraction at Baines's place. Ray asks him to have Tanya looking at Lisa Wells, the girl who was drowned, somebody that Claire had mentioned. Then Claire calls Ray. She remembers something strange about Baines's experiments and wants to check his files. So he asks Ray to go with her to his office, and his competitive streak keeps him from looping Joey in, which we find out ends up being a bad call on his part. So now at Terry's office, Ray and Claire are digging through Baines's notes when Terry and his goons walk in. Ray pulls a gun, but they've got Claire at gunpoint too. He drops his. Terry grills him, and it is also disappointed. Claire throws Ray over him. He's like, "What are you, a cop?" And he goes, "No, I'm not a cop." But Terry's like, "Why, with that high IQ, why do you have a gun if you're just a student?" The next day, a car's pulled from the bay. Ray and Claire are inside. An accident was the official cause, but nobody's believing that. The YCU wants revenge. Cutter shuts that down, but keeps them on the case. Joey then opens up to Tanya and Zach about his father being shot by his own partner. He says, "You know what? I don't trust your boss, Cutter, but Tanya and Zach still do."
We'll see. We'll see. So now the team at the YCU headquarters learns that Lisa Wells was a patent lawyer tied to Baines. She pushed him to get married and then, quote unquote, accidentally drowned. Everyone in Baines' circle comes from a broken home and has spent time in psych wards. I wonder if they know the Miracle Man.
Right.
Anyway, the pattern's getting clearer. Zach steps up next. He goes to Baines, playing the abused kid, Engel, and pretends he's suicidal. And Baines, he's hooked, takes the bait. Pretty much, I think it was like an observation room or something like that. Zach is tripping hard here on hallucinogens that Baines gave him, while Joey is listening in on a wire. Zach takes off, runs into traffic thinking he's on a boat, and Joey saves him at the last second. So now Joey goes back to Baines' place, tells him the buyer's backing out, and Zach's going to the cops. Baines pretty much just shrugs it off, kind of business as usual type thing. Baines asks Joey what he should hypothetically do with Zach. Joey pushes him to meet at Harrison Hall. Baines here double crosses him and sends his goons to take Joey and Zach to another rooftop. Cutter realizes the wire signal's weak and starts tracking them down. So things are getting kind of interesting for this.
Right. And we don't have, there was no GPS back then. So the way he tracked them down is as the signal became stronger, he knew he was close to the area. But that's still like a needle in a haystack considering Miami's so big. But they were still on campus, so they really weren't that far away. Just went to a different building.
Tim, take us out of this episode, please. Please take us.
I will. So now we're not at Harrison Hall. They go to a different rooftop, and Joey pretends Zach is still tripping and tries to get Baines talking. Baines confesses to killing Lisa and Peter. Cutter and backup start to close in. Joey and Zach drop the act, pull guns, and bust the crew. Baines grabs a maintenance guy, because if you remember, that maintenance guy was outside the building, saw them all going in late, and he kind of looked weirdly at them. So he went up the roof to find out what's going on. Hey, you're not supposed to be up here. And then Baines threatens him with that same African truth knife. A fight breaks out. Baines ends up over the ledge, and he's gripping on. Joey grabs his hand, but alas, he falls to his death and the case is closed. The episode ends with Zach wanting the YCU to continue and Cutter wanting Joey to be part of it.
You okay, kid?
Yeah. I'll never want a place with a view again.
How we do there, Captain?
Not bad for a bunch of hotshots.
You didn't do too bad either, Cut, for an old slow guy.
It sure don't seem right without the old surf cowboy here, man. Wish Ray was with us.
3124, 7427.
Maybe we ought to keep on keeping on.
Hey, what do you say? I'll buy you dinner. We'll talk about it.
Hard-headed man, isn't he?
Yeah, that's his trademark.
Yeah? Well, he doesn't have a patent on it.
All right, time to check out the ratings. IMDb gives us the lowest ever, 5.5 out of a 10. Tim?
Mark, I'm going to have to definitely agree with the rating on this episode. Crockett and Tubbs were briefly in there without explanation of their disappearance afterwards, but we will discuss. It was obvious to me that this plot was a test run for a potential Miami Vice spinoff. Crockett and or Tubbs could have posed as the buyer instead of Cutter just to keep them in the action. If this spinoff became a reality, they would have had to quickly replace actor, I think it's I don't know if it's Kyle Martin, who played Cutter, because this episode was 89, it was released, but he died in late December of 90, so he would have never been their boss anyway if it got off the drawing board room. But if you know Hill Street Blues, you know that Kyle Martin played John LaRue. Really, Mark, there was nothing too extraordinary about this episode. Again, everything. These episodes were filmed out of order, but they released them as lost episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what was going on at that time. I think they were trying to set this up. This should have been really the last. It should have been not a lost episode, but actually within that first 17 episodes. Sure. So somewhere before Free Fall, if they truly were going to make it a spinoff, have it in there to wrap things up like that.
Would have made more sense that way.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, I think I've given this review before.
It was merely a 2-word review, just said shit sandwich.
Where'd they print that? Where'd they print that?
You can't say that. Actually, Tim, I think we have to be fair here and kind of give 2 reviews on this. One for just, a regular Miami Vice episode, and the one for what it really was, an intro to a spinoff. To be fair, right?
Yeah.
As a regular Vice episode, because it was numbered within the Miami Vice episode, it was terrible. Terrible, bar none. You have what seems to be Crockett and Tubbs here only to pick up a paycheck and disappear after about 7 minutes. The only redeemable point in the Vice team scheme is that we see another one of Crockett's past co-workers show up. The leader of the youth unit, whatever.
Yep.
And that's it. End scene, end Vice episode itself. Now, enter in what was a spin-off revitalization of young, fresh meat here. Pretty Boy Cop. But like you said, 21 Jump Street was already established. That's what they were thinking. Hey, we need paychecks. We got all these people working. Vice is ending. Let's take this and let's run with it. Let's go up against 21 Jump Street, but it just didn't work. But yeah, like you said, if they wanted to showcase this, it should have been its own show. And then maybe have Crockett and Tubbs show up as a cameo. Something like that probably would have worked. Having this as Vice, no, just didn't work. Now, the other parts, remember back in the 70s, some little snot-nosed little shit showed up to Uncle Mike's and Aunt Carol's house. And you remember how well that went?
How come we're having all these accidents only since Oliver moved in?
Yeah. I like Oliver, but he's a jinx. Sure looks like that. Wish you could have stayed with some other relatives.
Yeah, but I guess there's nothing we can do about it. We're stuck with him.
Good old, like you were just going to say, good old Cousin Oliver.
Cousin Oliver, right. He didn't go. He was in the very last episode of the Brady Bunch, because that's when Greg had graduated from high school and he had the orange hair thing and stuff. So Oliver was still there, but yeah.
Now the story in and of itself here, we've got a professor gone bad, and we already had that. We had 2 of them. Most recently, the sadist of Eric Hollowell in Asian Cut.
Yes.
And then I think it was season 2, Eartha Kitt's character Chata in Whatever Works, doing Santeria.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the first few episodes, the Great McCarthy, a drug dealing, he was just called Professor. So this, just boring. Just boring. No excitement for something new here. As I said many times, I think the only spinoff that would have worked from Miami Vice would have been pairing Izzy and Noogie in a sitcom half hour, set in Miami, and sometimes running into the Vice gang themselves. But otherwise, my thought here.
That's right, it sucks.
Okay, let's check out the music that showed up, which kind of saved this. Good music. We got Paradise City by Guns N' Roses. Great tune. That's the opening at the club. Kiss Me When I Get Back by Tom Tom Club at the Baines' party. And another great tune, What I Am by Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. That's when Claire and Monday were making love. And Tim, what do you got for Tim Truman music?
The only noted music for Tim Truman was a sort of a knockoff or fake song that was used throughout the episode, but it didn't have a name to it.
Right. I think they did it for a couple episodes too. It was supposed to be like music on the radio or something like that. All right, let's check out our goofs. Fun facts on locations. Our first goof here. The truck that almost runs Jack over on the freeway makes no attempt to stop or swerve, despite Jack standing right out in the middle of the road in plain sight and waiting for it.
And then we have a location, the Deering Estate, 16701 Southwest 72nd Avenue in South Miami. And that's where Hardin listens to a conversation in his car. You remember the Deering Estate from the epic hit radio drama, Crimson Mist.
We've got a fun fact here. In the opening sequence at the bar, several women are shown barebacked, and you could even get a glimpse of a side view of one of the women's breasts. Another example of how lax the censorship rules had become by the 5th season.
And then our final location is 3635 Stewart Avenue in Coconut Grove, and that's Baines' Villa Party.
All right, let's check out the trivia from last episode. We asked you, although he was referred to as just the commissioner in this episode, what was his last name found on his office door? And that was Commissioner Williford. Tim, what do we got for this one?
So this episode's question, in the opening bar scene, what does Crockett order? This might be the last time we hear this. You can post your answers on this episode's Facebook post, or you can email us at miamivice@duck.com.
All right, we've arrived at Mindful Music, where we'd like to share a quick clip of a song that we think will send some peaceful or inspiring vibes your way with the show as well as our own lives. We have many issues or stressful times that we encounter. With these song choices, hopefully we can quiet your mind, make those issues less of an obstacle for your day. And since the Winter Olympic Games are winding down in Italy, and recording this Sunday, and the USA men's hockey team won gold over Canada. Way to go, boys.
Yes.
Let's show some friendly competitive pride in all of those athletes that worked hard to compete and gave it their all and played mostly fairly. We won't get into Canada's curling team and all those that watched as well. So with that, here's the Olympic theme. Enjoy. And Tim, before you take us out, I think we played that before. I don't know if it was for the Summer Olympics or the last Winter Olympics. We've been doing this so long, haven't we, Tim?
Probably the Summer Olympics.
Probably summer?
I would say the most recent Summer Olympics, yeah.
Anyway, take us out, Tim.
Thanks to all of you for tuning into the Vice of Miami podcast.
If you build it, he will come. My mother was inside, cooking the meat for the gravy, the red lead.
What? Did you hear that?
What? Yeah, Mark, this has been frequently happening in our last several episodes. I'm not sure what's going on. We'll find out what's being built. But I'm really piqued my interest in what a red lead is.
Red lead. You would know more about that there, pal.
Yeah, I do. We're going to have a nice Sunday gravy with our moussaka tonight. So we hope you enjoyed our look into the world of Miami Vice. If you love what you heard, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and more Miami Vice goodness. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at the Vice of Miami Podcast. Our next episode is number 116, which covers the episode Too Much, Too Late, the fourth and final of the Lost episodes before we do the series finale Free Fall. So stay stylish and keep the Vice alive. Now,
Diane is the whole damn case, pal.